thousands of years, the different people of Central Asia suffered invasions by powerful groups such as the Mongols, Ottomans, and finally the communist rulers of the Soviet Union. But they longed to create nations of their own, a dream they realized in the early 1990s with the collapse of the Soviet Union. In the decade since then, however, these groups have come to know the challenges of building strong and stable independent nations. Hello, I'm Adriana Mendoza, and I will guide you through this journey to the past.
In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and the republics that had conquered emerged as 15 independent nations. After, some of these countries were divided into two groups. Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia make up the Transcaucasus republics. Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan were known as the Central Asian republics.
Since gaining independence, these nations have struggled economically and are today some of the poorest countries in the world. Much of the problems were created from their heavy dependence on the Soviet Union for economic help. As a result, they have had a difficult time standing on their own. Azerbaijan has the best chance to build a solid economy based on the income from oil and oil products.
In those countries, there are many ethnic and religious groups. There were a lot of problems between them, but the Soviet Union used to keep them distant. When it disappeared, these problems were no longer held and erupted into fighting, and some became small regional wars.
Afghanistan is a small nation. It's located in the South Central Asia and it's one of the least developed countries in the world. But in the past years, it has been the center of all attention because of its wars against the Soviet Union and the United States. In 1990, Afghanistan declared itself an independent nation and established a monarchy. When the Cold War began between the USA and the Soviet Union, Afghanistan remained neutral, but however received aid from the two.
Because of the short distance between Afghanistan and the Soviet Union, the communism arrived to Afghanistan. Later on, a rival group seized control of the country, but it was against communists. Then, another group called Mujahideen or Holy Warriors fought against the almost communist government. With the aid of the USA, 10 years later, Afghanistan won.
When Afghanistan was free from the Soviets, a conservative Islamic group known as the Taliban emerged as the leader of the country. They controlled 90% of the country by 1998. At the beginning, the Taliban were seen as a positive force because they brought order, pulled out the corruption, and promoted business. But after a while, they started following an extreme interpretation of Islamic law and applied to nearly every aspect of Afghan society.
It was horrible. We thought we were going to be free with our own government, but the Taliban controlled everything about our lives. We women couldn't do anything. We couldn't listen to music, watch television, or Disney movies. We couldn't have jobs or go to school. It was horrible.
One time, a Taliban entered my house and showed my TV. It was brand new. Now I can watch Friends. What happened to Ross and Rachel? It was horrible. Really? My kids don't lie.
If anyone didn't follow the Taliban's rules, they punished them with several beating, amputation, and even execution. The Taliban also supported the terrorists. They provided them refuge. Osama bin Laden was the leader of one of those terrorist groups. He is thought to be responsible for the September 11 attacks to the Pentagon and the World Trade Center.
The United States immediately demanded Taliban to turn over bin Laden, but when they reject them, the USA respond by taking military action. 2 months after they initiate attacking, the USA had driven the Taliban from power.
Hamid Karzai was the new leader of Afghanistan. His government's goal is to rebuild the country, which is not an easy task for a country with many ethnic groups, languages, and cultural patterns. I'm Adriana Mendoza, and this was our special episode on Central Asia.